We have a speaker. Habemus prolocutor. After 3 weeks of Republicans scrambling to find someone to fill the top spot in the House of Representatives, white smoke has emerged from the top of the Capitol building, and Republicans have elected rock-ribbed conservative Mike Johnson. I mean that sincerely. Ordinarily, I would say that as a joke whenever Republicans elect a leader, but they picked a conservative guy. Johnson has a lifetime rating of 92% from the American Conservative Union and a 90% rating from Heritage Action. Quite good. He's got an A+ rating from Susan B. Anthony, Pro-Life America. He authored legislation last year to outlaw the libs' weird sexual indoctrination of kids. And unlike the previous GOP nominee for Speaker, he voted to defend the real definition of marriage. As late as last December, when Joe Biden, the Democrats, and the squish Republicans tried, successfully I'm sorry to say, to codify the Obergefell same-sex marriage decision into law. Many people had never heard of Congressman Johnson before yesterday. The only reason I was aware of him is because of a handful of viral clips that I had seen of him hurling zingers at Democrats. Here is Speaker Johnson dressing down Joe Biden's Homeland Security Secretary, Alejandro Mayorkas.
I've only got 25 seconds. I'll just say I don't have time for a question because you'll be elusive. But for the record, since we're stating things for the record, I've been in Congress 7 years. I think you're the most dishonest witness that has ever appeared before the Judiciary Committee. And I think I speak for a lot of my colleagues. This is such a frustrating exercise for us because our constituents want answers. They're tired of the open border. They're tired of people dying from fentanyl overdoses, and it's your fault. It's my time.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
No, there's no point of order in the middle of this. This is my opinion. I think it's shared by millions of American people.
Based on the
standard, show no shame.
Based on the standard that the chairman set out in previous hearings. Calling a witness dishonest is over the line that you drew at a previous hearing.
I'm not pulling the words down. That speaks for the American people.
Zinged, owned, and now Speaker Johnson is not just about those pithy one-liners. Some of his other viral clips demonstrate that the guy is clearly intelligent. He clearly does his homework, as he showed when he destroyed the Democrats on the first impeachment trial of President Trump.
The gentleman is recognized.
I just want to slow this down and be very methodical about it because most of us here are attorneys, and in this case, we're supposed to also be finders of fact. And we're supposed to carefully and objectively analyze the claims against the record. So let's do that. There are two articles to this impeachment resolution, of course, abuse of power and obstruction of justice. On the first, Democrats know there is zero direct evidence in the record of these proceedings to show that President Trump engaged in any scheme of any kind, as is alleged in the resolution, or that he intended in his dealings with Ukraine to influence the 2020 election. No impeachment should ever proceed on the basis of hearsay and conjecture and speculation that wouldn't even be admissible in a local traffic court, and we say that over and over. To my friend, Ms. Jayapal, there is simply no evidence of any condition, and I guess I need to repeat the four indisputable facts again that are in this record, because repetition apparently is really necessary here. First, both President and Zelensky say there was no pressure exerted. Number two, the July 25th call transcript shows no conditionality between aid funding and an investigation. Number three, Ukraine was not aware of the aid, as has been said over and over here, that it was being delayed. And number four, they never opened an investigation. They still received the aid and they got the meeting.
This is all good stuff. He's quick, he's fast, he's conservative. And almost as important, he appears able to unify the party. He's got support from the base. He's got support from the party leader. And incredibly, after the last 3 weeks of congressional circus, not a single Republican in the House voted against him. Right now, go to genucel.com/Knowles. Our friends over at Genucel have launched a new product called Genucel 3, which works on your under-eye bags and puffiness. Genucel 3 is smooth, luxurious, and uses advanced technology to deliver complex vitamins and minerals directly to your face for instant hydration. It's like Gatorade for your skin. This new Genucel technology keeps your skin looking young and healthy for years to come. The Genucel Fall Classics package also includes a jawline treatment for a firmer neck and jawline, so you can have a nice chiseled jawline just like me. It includes Genucel's anti-wrinkle moisturizer and deep firming serum. Get your skin ready for that cold and dry weather and look good while you're doing it. You know, I love this company because they make great products and because the owner is a Coptic Christian who left Egypt for the American dream. Head on over to genucel.com/Knowles, Knowles, or you can call 800-SKIN-211 for extra discounts on this amazing fall package. Get results in less than 12 hours. The immediate effects are included for free. That is Genucel.com/Knowles, Knowles, or by calling 800-SKIN-211. To close up on this speaker, this is a really good thing. In a way, I guess it vindicates Matt Gaetz. I was a little skeptical of Gaetz. I was a little skeptical because I thought, yeah, Kevin McCarthy, he's not great, but he's more conservative than Ryan. He's more conservative than Boehner. He's arguably more conservative than Newt Gingrich. So he might be the most conservative speaker Republicans have had since the 1950s, and Joe Martin, which is damning with faint praise. But I thought with a razor-thin majority, is there any way that conservatives would be able to get a more favorable speaker? And then, when it looked like we were going to be stuck with Tom Emmer, who's a big squish lib, I thought, well, thanks a lot, Matt Gaetz. You know, we kick out McCarthy, who was not great, but he was fine. Then you give us Emmer, who's terrible. Well, a lot of good that did us. But look, Matt Gaetz took a big swing here. Matt Gaetz risked a lot of his political credibility, and he won. At least for now. It remains to be seen, because the Speaker of the House is not tasked merely with writing laws or being really conservative and consistent or anything like that. He's tasked with unifying the party, raising money, whipping votes. He's got to be able to do all those things. We'll see if he can do it. But for now, we seem to be in a pretty good position. Now, Mike Johnson has, despite all of this goodwill from conservatives, he's raised some eyebrows because as he took on the gavel for the first time, he announced that his first order of business would not be to, I don't know, bring jobs back to America, to secure the border, to bring back manufacturing, to, I don't know, rev up the economy again, to restore law and order, to this, that, or the other thing. That his first order of business would be to send money to Israel.
We're in a time of extraordinary crisis right now, and the world needs us to be strong. They need us to remember our creed and our admonition. Turmoil and violence have rocked the Middle East and Eastern Europe. We all know it, and tensions continue to build in the Indo-Pacific. The country demands strong leadership of this body, and we must not waver. Our nation's greatest ally in the Middle East is under attack. The first bill that I'm going to bring to this floor in just a little while will be in support of our dear friend Israel, and we're overdue in getting that done. We're going to show not only Israel, but the entire world that the barbarism of Hamas that we have all seen play out on our television screens is wretched and wrong, and we are going to stand for the good in that conflict.
Okay, this raised a lot of eyebrows, and there were a lot of conservatives saying, hold on, I like Israel well enough. Bibi Netanyahu, he seems like a charming man, but that's your first order of business? That couldn't be your second or third order of business? You couldn't do something for America first? Well, isn't that the name of our new movement, is America First and Make America Great Again? Why is your first order of business to give money away to Israel? But I have a little bit of a more charitable read of what he's doing here. And I think that Mike Johnson is clearly a clever guy, and I think this was actually a pretty smart move. Because, one, the United States is going to fund Israel. It's just going to happen. The congressmen can vote for it. They cannot vote for it. It's not going to matter. They're going to fund Israel. The American deep state funded Ukraine over the objections of American lawmakers. And America has a much more tenuous relationship with Ukraine than we do with the state of Israel. Remember how they did it back in the summer when Congress didn't want to take another vote on funding Ukraine, so the State Department just found some money. The Pentagon just found some money. They said, oh yeah, the weapons we gave them, it was cheaper than we said they were. So therefore, because we appropriated a certain amount of money, that on our spreadsheets, that frees up some money. So whatever, they get another $6 billion. We would have done that times a billion with Israel, okay? Israel just gets whatever it wants. That was always going to happen, especially at a time of war like this, where there are potentially existential crises in the Middle East. So what Emmer does here is he's looking at a funding bill that the Democrats were trying to tie Israel and Ukraine funding together. So Republicans don't want to vote for Ukraine funding, a lot of them do want to vote for Israel funding. So, darn it, we're going to have to vote to fund. We're going to have to vote to fund Ukraine as well. We're going to have to vote to fund Taiwan. We're going to have to vote for $100 billion in military aid that we don't want to vote on because we feel our hands are tied because we want to support Israel. So what Emmer is doing here is he's saying, first thing we're going to do, we're going to vote to fund Israel and not Ukraine and not make it $100 billion and not tie it all together. So it's a clever way of, without saying it explicitly, he's not coming out and saying, my first order of business is to defund the Ukraine war. He's saying, my first order of business is to fund the Israel war and thereby defund the Ukraine war. The other reason he's doing this, I think, is because Israel is now a wedge issue for Democrats. It didn't used to be. Israel used to be a unifying issue for both parties. Both parties, you could be far left Democrat, far right Republican, everybody supported the state of Israel. You're seeing cracks now, especially among the Democrats, with the Squad, with AOC, with Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, certainly, and others. The far left Democrats are saying, we don't like Israel anymore. We support Palestine from the river to the sea. Hamas will be free. And so they're going to vote against that. And it looks really bad. Even the White House is dealing with this. Joe Biden's spokesman, Karine Jean-Pierre, doesn't know how to answer questions about the Israel-Palestine conflict. She gets asked a question about the White House response to anti-Semitism. She gives an answer about Islamophobia. Because they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. So by making this the first order of business, everyone's going to be paying attention to this guy's first vote as Speaker of the House, and he's going to be able to nail those Democrats. And whatever they do, it's going to hurt their funding. Right now, you're seeing a lot of Jewish funders. We'll get to this hopefully a little later today, if not at least maybe tomorrow. A lot of Jewish funders of big institutions, big universities, saying, hey, you guys are letting all these pro-Hamas people run wild. I'm going to pull my money. I think the same thing is probably going to happen here with the Democrats who turn on the state of Israel. They're going to lose money from pro-Israel funders. And there are plenty of pro-Israel funders out there. Or conversely, if the Democrats come out in favor of voting for this single vote to fund Israel, then they're going to lose a bunch of support from their base. Their base like BLM, which is going out there putting up big signs and posting photos to social media in support of Hamas paragliders. So either way, they're getting hammered here. And in the previous version of funding the war, the Democrats could mollify their base by saying, well, look, I was voting for Ukraine war funding, but I had to give some money to Israel, even though I really hate Israel, but I had to do it to fund Ukraine and Taiwan, so forgive us. And they would have gotten away with it. Here, there's some clarity. If I were Speaker of the House, would I have made this the first order of business? Probably not. But it's a pretty clever strategy, and it makes me feel pretty confident about the way that this guy can move levers of power, the way that this guy can find his light and move the mechanics of the House of Representatives. It remains to be seen if he can really succeed, but it's looking good. You got to ring the bell. Subscribe to the Michael Knowles YouTube channel. See you next time.